Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and today I've got a review of Blanc for you all on the Nintendo Switch. This one an adventure game with the ability to play solo or co-op, but does this one deliver a journey worth taking, or is it simply stale over substance? Well, that's what I'm here to find out, so let's get started. The story then is a wordless tale as we join a fawn and young wolf that find themselves lost in what appears to be a devastating storm. Even the humans in this location, they appear to be more than a few feet deep in snow. Now during this event we've been separated from our families, and here begins an unlikely friendship for survival where we can only get through the path ahead if we do work together. I thought generally it did a good job with its story, emotions and danger are clear. They do a good job as well of demonstrating the bond between the two developing overall. It's also heartfelt, and that may resonate for many even if the stakes, they never feel all that high honestly. Kudos then for the amount of personality they've got from these leads as well. The animations and the sound effects, they often paint 1,000 words. If you enjoyed the video today, consider hitting subscribe, helps the channel a huge amount, and we do have reviews and deals here daily. Gameplay then, and as you might expect, this is simplistic. This is not a game that's out to confuse, rather it wants you to take this journey while focusing on the harsh location and our lead's responses. Where it does get unique, however, is the fact you can play single player or co-op. Now the co-op you can play locally or online, though the latter is with those from your friend list only and not with randoms in lobbies. It somewhat makes sense as some verbal communication would probably go a long way here, but I would still personally really like the option. Single player, however, that's really interesting. It tasks you with controlling both characters simultaneously. One is attached to the left stick and triggers, the other's gonna be to the right. You can switch which is which at any time from the options menu, and thankfully they only really have 4 abilities. That is, they can sprint, they can interact, they can jump, and they can assist. These 4 options then are confined to the 2 triggers, and thankfully it all works really well. Now I will say at this point though, I did have to play this way myself, and it takes some time to get used to, at least initially, because I was walking all over the place, and you can see how co-op is the optimal way to enjoy the experience. It's really a very slow pace to the action here overall though, and you'll be thankful for that when you're tackling it alone, as you can take your time getting your head around the different exploration options. The moves, as I said as well, are simple. It's often just jumping from platform to platform or to navigate obstacles. You'll use things like the wolf to pull objects out the way, and occasionally you'll assist each other, such as the fawn who can duck down and create a platform for our much smaller companion to leverage. The puzzles then, mostly minor, are very few what I'd describe as physics-based asks, but not in any way challenging, and then the remainder, it is more going to be that traversal based, moving objects or uncovering a path to move forward. I doubt anyone will get too stuck, but that suits the game's overall tone. It doesn't want to slow the story down, it wants you along for the adventure, making you feel just involved enough to be rooting for the fawn and the fox to make their way home. Problems in the environments, they can get a little awkward, finding that exact spot to jump to that next ledge, or even the camera can get a little wonky at times as it relies entirely on the game to show the correct direction. But these are minor complaints in what is a mostly enjoyable, relaxed adventure. For some as well, it may be seen as a problem when you look at the runtime. I came in at just over 2 hours. I got stuck a little bit and lost on a few occasions, so it could definitely be much quicker. I think it is the right length for the story, it's telling, but I do know when many look at the $15 price tag or your regional equivalent may seem a little steep. I'd argue personally it's the same price and runtime of your typical movie, so I do think it can be justified. My only other complaint, just occasionally I did face slowdown, but it wasn't frequent, and they are aware of the issue and working on it. Overall, for gameplay, it keeps things simple. The story and the journey are the main focus, but I do think co-op fans especially who want something with a more relaxed pace may find a lot to like, and that's not to say the single player isn't fun still, you can just see how it's the optimal way to play. I also do think it may be a good option for younger audience members as potentially a future family game. Visually, that is where this game wows, and I think again the gameplay, it's never intended to be the core focus, rather that story it tells, but the visuals, they do a hell of a job backing it up. Hand-drawn, black and white, it makes for something really unique, and it was in fact actually drawn in 2D originally before being converted for 3D. I just think it does a great job of capturing the landscape structures buried in snow, they pop out, but the screen is nearly constantly white, giving a couple of great effects. It directs where you need to go, but also then it's demonstrating how serious the situation is. While there's little life outside of our leads and outside of a few occasions, we do see images of our families moving forward, those we must catch up to, and I particularly liked our leads' animations. The personalities of these two animals, they're so likeable as fear, happiness and a bond forming. It's just so easy to identify. Very few problems visually. I would say a few of the textures, the resolution can feel a little soft at times, especially when up close in say a structure. You know, the wood grain for example can look blurred, not always, just occasionally. And then it also at times struggles to give the players a sense of direction, as you can often be staring at a blanket of snow. Audio finally, and I can't fault the overall production quality much from a visual and audio perspective. It does exactly what you expect at an extremely high quality. The music is relaxed with a slow tempo, but it does lean in just occasionally to something a little bit more intense, not necessarily in its speed, but rather it's hitting some minor notes to sell the danger around us. And yeah, it's just a great score throughout, which works perfectly to the game's style. Then the sound effects, and this was the real winner for me. Our leads express themselves so much in this way. It's easy to understand, you know, fear, needing an assist, or happiness, and it's then all reinforced with sound effects which capture the weather and the locations around us. It's not a huge amount, but small creaks can often be a hint. A shake from an object we're standing on can rattle and drive some fear in us, you know, just urgency. And then the wind is often the scariest thing of all, as it batters up against our leads. So overall of this, it's a bite-sized adventure game with minor environmental puzzles to navigate. I loved our lead characters, I thought they were supported with great audio and animation, and the world, it's definitely interesting, mainly thanks to its creative use of a hand-drawn like style. It packs no real challenge, but sometimes that is what you want in a game. It's just going to be a good one to wind down to. You can play single player like me, but there's no question then co-op will be the best way to experience this story of two friends relying on each other to overcome the odds. With its few problems, and again some would argue the short runtime, I still can't help but be charmed by it, and it's a good 7 out of 10 from me. Definitely won't be for everyone, that is for sure, but those that do jump in, I think they will be singing its praise. Will you be checking out this one then? Let me know in the comments. With that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.